All right, hey y'all. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to the last couple of weeks. Um, so I've been making these face shields for doctors and nurses, any sort of healthcare workers that need them. And where I found out about it was a friend of a friend came to me and said, "We need some 3D printers. We have a need for these face shields, and we know they can be 3D printed, but we need some printers." So I got together with a biomedical engineer who is also a med student, um, and we talked about what is the best design. We found this model from Prusa, which had already been made, and decided that was the best, simplest design that we could find. And but it took a little while to print, and so what we did was just simplified it into this. Actually, Jorge was the one who did this initially, and he called it the Prucci design. So you can see it looks pretty similar to the Prusa model, but just it's skinnier and less detail in there. It's simpler, so we could print it in about 20 minutes. Okay, so one improvement that we made initially was to the Prucci design was at first it didn't hold the elastic or rubber band, whatever you used to hold it on. And so we redesigned the hook so that it would hold the rubber band. But we found that even though we could print them in about 20 minutes, they were starting to come apart. Um, so we decided that it wasn't quite strong enough, went back to the drawing board, and played with the slicer settings. So the slicer is what takes your 3D model and turns it into the layers that the 3D printer actually does. And so we added some more horizontal slices. You can see them on the right there, to hold the pieces together. And that really worked. So once we got that, we started to really crank up the production. They were assembled at Catherine's house, who is another one of the med students we've been working with. You can see a lot of the green rubber bands you might recognize from the classroom there. And also, a lot of these gold ones are the gold filament that we had that we were going to make the Camels Awards out of. They're face shields now. And then after that, once we tested them and got approval from several hospitals, they started to get distributed and actually used. I believe these are all doctors from Ochsner here wearing the initial Prucci design. Okay, but one thing we had to worry about after that is we were running out of materials. All the rubber bands were already gone, and we couldn't find any elastic. So we had to get creative, and we found this bungee cord material at McMaster Carr, and we're able to get 500 feet of that. So that kept us going for a little while on the elastic front. And right around this time, this was maybe 3 or 4 days after we started making these, and we had already made over 100 of them. But I found this model that Prusa also put out that had 3 pegs instead of 4. So you can see here on the model, there's a peg here, one in the middle, and then one on the other side. And the pegs are a little bit bigger. And the idea is with this model, you can use a 3-hole punch to just 3-hole punch the plastic shield part, and it makes the assembly go so much faster. So I put that out there to Catherine and Jorge, the med students. They both really liked it, thought that the assembly would go faster, but also there wouldn't be a gap between where the hole in the shield is and the frame itself. Because before, the little peg was slightly smaller than the hole and there was a gap there. So this also solved that other problem. So we had to think of a new name for this one. It couldn't be Prucci, so we went with the Proven Klein model for this one and just started cranking those out. So we're able to make around 30 of those per day. Um, and then similar assembly process, but they were able to bring in a few more medical students to help out with the assembly. And you can kind of see on the table right here the that green elastic or the bungee cord rather getting used to assemble those. And finally, yeah, those are now getting out there, being used in hospitals and other facilities, such as the convention center. I know we've got a bunch of them being used there, but they've also asked for more. So we are still looking for more people, more 3D printers. The more we can get, the more of these we can make. So that's it. I'll see y'all soon.